There's one specific hour of the day when drinking tea can make quitting cigarettes noticeably easier. Most people trying to quit smoking are drinking their tea at completely the wrong time. And if you fix just that one thing, you remove one of the biggest triggers that pulls people back to smoking. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end, you'll know exactly when to drink it, why the timing matters more than the tea itself, and what to do in the moments when the craving hits hardest. Here's the thing nobody tells you about quitting smoking. It was never really about nicotine alone. It's about the ritual. The hand going to the mouth, the 5-minute pause, the little reward built into your day. So when someone quits cold turkey, they're not just losing a chemical, they're losing a habit loop that's been running on autopilot for years. But that's exactly where tea comes in, not as a magic cure, but as a replacement ritual, placed at the exact moments your brain is expecting a cigarette. Therefore, the question isn't, does tea help you quit smoking? The real question is, at what hour does your brain need that replacement the most?
For most smokers, the very first cigarette of the day is the hardest one to give up. It happens within the first 30 minutes of waking, often paired with coffee. But here's the problem. Coffee is a stimulant, and stimulants can actually intensify nicotine cravings for some people because the brain links the alertness of caffeine with the alertness it used to get from a cigarette. So instead, this is where a non-caffeinated herbal tea, think chamomile, peppermint, or licorice root, becomes useful. Not because the tea itself removes nicotine cravings chemically, but because it takes over the exact ritual slot, something warm, held in your hands, sipped slowly, first thing in the morning. Therefore, the first rule is simple. Whatever tea replaces your first cigarette has to happen in that same narrow window, right after waking, before the craving has time to build.
But mornings aren't the only danger zone. There's a second one, and it's the one most people completely ignore. The mid-afternoon crash, usually between 2 and 4 p.m. This is when blood sugar dips, energy drops, and the brain goes looking for a quick reward. For a smoker, that reward has always been a cigarette. Therefore, this is the second window where tea matters, but this time a mild caffeinated option, like green tea, works better. It gives a gentle lift without the harsh spike of coffee or the sharp crash that follows, so the brain doesn't go searching for something stronger to fix the dip. Sip it slowly, in the same spot, at the same time every day for a couple of weeks. The consistency is what turns it into the new ritual, replacing the old one. Now here's the one that gets almost everyone: the after-dinner cigarette. This is often described by people who quit as the single hardest one to let go of, because it's tied to relaxation, to the end of the day, to a sense of, I earned this. But that's exactly the trap. It's not really about nicotine at that point. It's about permission to unwind. So this is where a calming tea, chamomile again, or valerian root, placed right after the last meal, becomes the substitute for that permission to relax feeling. It signals to the brain, the day is winding down, and here is your reward, without the smoke. One former smoker described it this way: the first 2 weeks, the tea didn't remove the urge completely, but it gave her hands and her mouth something to do at the exact minute the craving used to hit, and that was often enough to let the urge pass. Let's be clear about something, because this matters. Tea does not remove nicotine from your system, and it's not a substitute for medical support if you need it. But what it does do is interrupt the habit loop at the 3 specific hours where cravings are strongest: right after waking, mid-afternoon, and right after dinner. Therefore, the real mechanism isn't chemical, it's behavioral. Every time you reach for tea instead of a cigarette at the exact same hour, you're rewiring which action follows which trigger. Do that enough times, and the craving starts attaching itself to the cup, not the cigarette. That's not a guess. It's simply how habit replacement works, and it's the same principle used in most modern smoking cessation programs. Tea just happens to be one of the easiest, cheapest ways to apply it.
So if you're trying to quit, don't just ask, should I drink tea? Ask yourself, what hour does my craving usually hit? Because that's the hour that matters, not the tea itself. 3 windows: right after waking, the afternoon crash, right after dinner. Match the right tea to each one, and you're not fighting the habit anymore. You're replacing it. If this helped, subscribe, because next week we're breaking down the exact breathing technique that cuts a craving down to under 60 seconds. And tell me in the comments, which hour is the hardest one for you? I read every comment.